welcome, I screwed up the intro again. Welcome folders to a brand new video. We have part 9 on how to get better at origami. Now we're going to be looking at how to figure out shaping. So when you collapse the base, what do you do next? How do you go about turning this flat piece of paper that has these layers and points into the finished model? So we're going to look at the process of doing that, and I've got an example right here. I've got the finished model off camera. I'll show you that in a second. So we're going to be looking at non-box pleat models, so 22.5 etc. And I'm focusing on this first because it's one of the most requested videos to do on how to figure out shaping. So I'm doing this first. I'll get to box pleat later on because box pleat is far more easier. Just give a quick example of an insect. So if you look at the top, no, the side of an insect, we have, let me see, I'll drop this way. So we have the body and then however many parts coming down. Like that. So that's looking at it from the side. If you look at it from the top, we have the body, and then what you would basically do is just fold these up to the side, like reverse fold, and then like that. So it's mostly straightforward for insects, near enough. But when it comes to something like this, it gets a bit more tricky. So this is the model by Kanokoya Origami, and let me just find the name of the model. I forgot what it was. He's a fantastic designer, by the way. All of his crease patterns are on his page. I would suggest you go follow him. So the model is, let me translate it. Yeah, it's just a hawk design by Kanokoya Origami, and that's basically the crease pattern. Let me just show you the model. Oops, where am I going? So that's the model right here. Of course you can see it much better on his page, and as always he mostly provides the crease patterns at the last post, so you can have an attempt at doing it. Right, so we're going to be collapsing this. Well, I'm going to collapse this like a little time lapse, and then we're going to get into figuring out how to shape it. So the model is here. This is my fold. Absolutely love this model. The paper I think suits it really well. It's a big chonker of a fold, and I love how they place the scales on the top as well. Not scales, but the feathers. When you stuff the body with cotton wool, it sort of expands them, so it creates that definition. So when the light hits it, you can see the shadows, so it adds more depth of detail. So really stunning model. The only thing I'd like better with this model is bigger legs. Again, I'm not entirely sure how big the legs should be on an actual eagle. I'm pretty sure they're bigger than this, but I think if you did a second version with bigger legs, this would be absolutely perfect. So what we're going to be focusing on is the top part, and this is the crease pattern for basically from here, basically the head. We're going to be looking at how to get the flat folded base to the 3D visual head that we have here, and I will talking you through the process that I done it, how I did it. Yeah, there we go, stats. So really a neat model, definitely give it a shot if you feel like a good challenge. Pre-creasing isn't that hard, so you can manage it. So I'm going to quickly time lapse the collapse, and then we'll start doing the problem solving. And there we go, fully collapsed for the part. Now, here we have the base, for the head, and if you notice already, it basically has no resemblance to each other. It doesn't look like an eagle head, even if I fold it in half around it. I mean, there's no resemblance. So how am I supposed to bring the camera up a wee bit? So how am I supposed to turn this into this? So let me just show you again. So it's a matter of, from now on, it's a matter of process of elimination. This is what I do. So when I looked at the designer's fold, I could obviously see this top part and then this top part. But on his fold, he didn't have the top bit. So this part somehow vanishes. So that's what I tried first. I'll just leave it there. Get rid of that. So the top part somehow vanishes. I'll have his pictures of the folds on the screen, like up here, like small ones, so you can look at them as well as I'm showing. So he somehow had, he got rid of it or hid it. So I assumed he'd done like a mountain fold, like that. So as soon as I do that, we have some sort of resemblance from here to here. Now, the thing is, we have, oh yeah, let me unfold this and then see how many points we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. We have 7 points. Now if you look at the head, and we have 1 for the beak, 1 for the beak as well, so top and bottom. I'm going to assume we have 1 for each eye. So beak, beak, eye. So we have 4. And then, yeah, this one doesn't really count because that's the top part. So that's 5. So we have 1 for the bottom of the beak, 1 for the top, 1 for the eyes, and then 1 for this part here. So that's 5 in total, but we have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So then it got me thinking, 2 of these must not be used. They must be extra. They're probably there just to make it so it lies flat, or they're there if you want to use it as extra shaping. So it got me guessing which of these 2 don't get used. And then I realised once I make this mountain fold, the part right directly central underneath to it is the top beak. So then I guessed this part here must be the top of the beak, and then the part under it must be the bottom of the beak. So this is the top, and then this part must be the bottom. And then I assumed that the eyes weren't down here, because how could I fold it and then bring this up to try and make an eye? I mean, you probably could, but I never done this because the eyes are quite, you need to fold through a lot of layers, and assuming how thick your paper is or thin, it may not be easy to do. So I assumed that these were not the eyes, but the top parts were the eyes. So what I did was I folded this over and then just folded it down, and then fold it back over. So I assumed that the bottom 2 outside flaps were extras, and then I done that, folded it back over. And now if we go back to it again, we have the top flap which we folded over, that's number 1. We have 1 for the eye, 1 for the eye, and then the top beak, and then the bottom beak. So right now, once I did that on this fold, I was confident because I eliminated 2 flaps. I had a rough idea of what he did to the top part, and now it's just a matter of trying to figure out how to go about putting it together. So let's do the top beak first. So I wanted to try and, because in his fold it came out quite a lot, so I had to try and maybe hide the excess layers. So I just folded the eye part down a little bit, like this, and then as I curve it, I've instantly got that recognition of the beak. So the top part, bottom part. So then I realised I must be correct. I must have had these flaps correct. They must have been extra ones that didn't need to be used. So that's what I did, and yeah, it came easy to me. So once I curved that, I realised, okay, so this is definitely the top beak. Now I might need to adjust this part, depending on if you need to make a mountain fold from this point to this point or bring it down much lower, which this is. So I wanted to try and get that beak out as far as possible. So bringing it down more allowed me to get that adjustment that I wanted, which is basically like that. So I'm not going to add all the details, but I'm just showing you. So now that we have a larger beak, if I just folded the bottom one, oh yes, so we probably need to hide this layer as well. I never had that one on that one, no, that's fine. So because you would use this part as the side of the beak, as in his fold, and then the bottom part doesn't have that, so I decided that I was going back and forth on how to hide these parts, because I wanted to have the bottom of the body clean, and because I was going to fill it up with cotton wool, so I was deciding how should I do it. So valley fold these parts, yep, and then I must have folded them inside, because once the body gets curved, I'll fill up the body with cotton wool, so I'll puff it all out like that. So this part will get filled, so it's a matter of, do I want these parts to get seen, these edges? So I then just folded it inside, unfolded it, fold them inside, fold it back over. Like that. And then curve it again, do what I wanted, and then puff it out to see what it looks like if I was to fill up cotton wool. If I managed to fill it up correctly, I could get that nice even curve. Like that. So it would sort of blend together. So I was confident I had this, so that's a really good position to be in. Now we've done the top beak, the bottom beak, with just the eyes. Now this is probably the trickiest part, because in his fold, I'm not entirely sure what he did, most likely just folding the creases in and around enough to hide it under here, maybe fold this part up to make some sort of resemblance to an eye. But what I did was open it all up, fill it up with a ball of blue tack, fold it nice and neatly around it, and then I tucked it underneath here. So you tuck it underneath and inside this part. Oh, that's what I did. And it's just a matter of, once you fill up the blue tack, you're just trying to figure out what's the best way to do it. So this would be a ball, and then, in fact, let me try that. Got some, right. And blue tack is super handy if you want to have a pronounced I. Let me just do this as an example. And what's important if you're going to do this, if you're doing eyes, and most likely it's going to have more than one, so probably two. Most likely it's going to have two. And make sure the balls are near enough identical in size. That's important because it may be noticeable in the end that the left eye is bigger than the right or smaller, etc. So try and have them the same size. So I opened it up, basically unfolding it completely until this part is smooth. And I'm going to press down so the paper can't form back around it. And then in here I'm just going to drop it in. Where'd it go? And you're going to put the blue tack on the inside of where all these creases meet. You want to have it as central as possible, not too much to the left or too far down, otherwise you won't get that nice symmetry. Then once you feel you have it, you're going to recollapse. Now of course it's not going to fully lie flat here, so you're just going to try and, as best as possible, force the paper around it. And don't worry if it's not neat, it's not the end of the world to have absolute perfection. So now we have an eye. Let me try and zoom in to get a bit more focus. Now we have the eye, but it's not slotted inside the pocket. So then I was thinking, should I do it inside this one? So that then got me thinking, which part should I put it underneath, because we have one here, we have another one here, maybe even this third one in here. We could potentially slot it in either one, it shouldn't really make a difference. Now the important thing is, when you shape models like this, there is no right or wrong in how you shape. You shape entirely on how you want to shape. You can shape to the designer's touches. For instance, don't do this. He never did it on his model, but I never wanted flat eyes. I wanted like profound evil eyes, like big eyes. So that's what I went for, but it's entirely up to you. You add your own touches. But I added it inside the top pocket. So it's just a matter of, as gentle as possible, trying to force the paper underneath. Maybe make some like valley folds here as well to try and tuck it underneath. Also this blue tack is way too big, so I ain't going to fit in. So something like that. But when you get it the right size, it'll just naturally lock in. So that's what we have. So it's starting to resemble the head, which is really good because it's exactly what we want. We must be doing something right if we're getting this type of results. Then I'll just try this on without blue tack. Again, I'm not entirely sure what I would do. Maybe like so, maybe even like this. I'm just using the edge of this layer to try and form an eye. Just pull it up like that. You'd probably hide that part in there. Yeah, that'll definitely work, but it's not. I need to fully glue it here and then push it underneath to try and form an eye. So again, it's entirely up to you if you want round eye or how the designer done it, and you'd of course just add the details. Look at how the designer done it, see if you can try and replicate it to make it easier to get the beak. So it's a matter of folding the point down a wee bit just to get the tip, and then using like the excess paper to like swivel fold underneath, like that. And then same with the other side as well. I don't really need to do the bottom. And once you do that, it was a matter of hiding excess layers on the other side. Again, there's no right or way to do this, it's just a matter of what I did was just glue some layers. I did dry folds first, so that is basically doing what I would do without gluing to see if it would actually work. So folding layers behind, and if it looks nice, I'll glue it, and then same with all the layers. So you tuck it underneath this part, everything will get tucked underneath here. Because I was going to fill it up with cotton wool, so I wanted to try and get as clean as an edge as possible. Oh, wrong one. Here and then there. And then you would just fill up with cotton wool. Again, optional as well, you don't need to do it. Like that. And then, assuming you glued all this correctly, that'll hold its shape. You just adjust the cotton wool and you have the finished head, and of course shape the feathers however you want. Just like reading scales, or keep them like that, no right or wrong. And that is basically it. That is how you would go about trying to shape this part of the crease pattern. And I hope you learn from this video. It is super important that you practice this, because the annoying thing is with crease patterns is they don't come with pre-creasing. 9 out of 10 times they don't come with pre-creasing steps or collapsing steps. For instance, a diagram shows you how to pre-crease, how to collapse, how to shape. A crease pattern just has a bunch of lines, and then it's up to you to try and figure out how to shape it. And then the base of 22.5s never resembles the finished model. So it's a matter of how do I go about turning this into this. So hopefully there is some resemblance. Yeah, so once you glue all these layers, I got this. And I was super happy because the way you look at it is smooth all the way around. Then the cotton wool complements it. So it's cotton wool just stuffed underneath the top layer. And again, you can add as much as you want, as little as you want. If I thought this was too big or too small, I could take some out, I could add some more. So it's fully adjustable. And that is basically it. I hope you learned from this video. I can leave this part of the crease pattern in the description. You could print it off, collapse it and practice shaping, see if you can do it as well. So thank you so much for everyone for watching everyone. That made no sense. I hope you liked the video, and thank you.